What's going on, good people? Rich here, co-host of the Culture Garden Podcast, back with another episode, special series that we're doing right now, best episode ever. We are back kicking it off with Entourage Season 2. Season 1 was wrapped up last week. Hopefully everyone's enjoying that, but I'm not by myself. I'm with my two brothers, Spike, Lou, and Chaz. What's going on, fellas?
Top of the top, top of the top.
What's good, y'all? Hope everybody
Hey,
ready
man.
to get it in, man.
Yeah, man, ready to get it in. Season 1 was a introduction to the whole world of Entourage, and I feel like season 2 is where it picks up its groove. Before we start talking about the season, few housekeeping moments. Shout out to We Got Y'all. Just want to give a shout out to Ray P. I know obviously people who listen to the Culture Garden, you're used to Ray P. You're probably wondering where is she? She is at We Got Y'all right now. She's not participating in the Entourage conversation. But you can find her on We Got Y'all. Please be sure to subscribe, like, comment, share. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Season 2, House of the Dragon. We got 3 episodes left to go ahead and
Team
wrap
Green
that
up, baby.
Nah, man. Fuck Team
Never
Green.
that, man.
Yeah,
Never
fuck
that.
Team Green. But we having a real good time
up,
with
baby.
it. So, we having a real good time with it, man. Looking forward to that. And then right after, I think a couple weeks after that, we'll be getting into Bel Air Season 3. So, busy times, and We Got Y'all. Please continue to check us out. Before we get started today, there will be spoilers and explicit content. Like I said, this is Season 2 of Best Episode Ever. If you're new to the series, our goal is to figure out what the best episode of Entourage is. In order to do that, we are going through each season. We are ranking our top 5 episodes, and our winners will be chosen for the finale. And we'll have a final conversation to see which episode is the best. Fellas, how we feeling about season 2? Going back to revisit it and rewatch it, Chaz, what were your thoughts on the second season overall?
It was excellent. It's a very enjoyable season. One of my favorites out of the series.
Okay.
You get new characters that are pivotal throughout the show. You further see the issues that E and Vince go through. You got Ari coming. This is Ari's whole fucking coming out party. And you see Turtle getting his bag more as a hustler.
Mm-hmm.
So all in all, man, and it's a lot of funny shit that happens. And you get to meet one of my favorite character dynamics, the back and forth between the relationship between Lloyd and Ari, which is hilarious.
It's funny that you call it a back and forth because it really ain't too much. Lloyd taking the brunt of all them jokes, man. Ari be on Lloyd ass. Then this is the light version. We ain't even got to the crew version of Lloyd and Ari yet. Or excuse me, Ari and Lloyd yet. So that's what's really wild about it. Spike Lou, what about you, man? Season 2 of Entourage.
Season 2 is great, man. You the first season's like a little teaser, and this one lets you know you back in that world, that Entourage setting. I honestly forgot that all of the stuff happened so quickly. I thought it was season 3 that we got Lloyd and the relationship with Sloan. Like I really genuinely forgot that all of that stuff happened this early. But I enjoyed it, man. It was fun watching. Like y'all said, it was fun, like getting the new introduction with the Ari and Lloyd relationship. And even what happens with Ari closer to the end. Like I just completely forgot that happened in season 2. I was thinking that was season 3 or 4. But overall, definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. No, I get it. It's definitely a pivotal season. It's one of the seasons where, Chaz, you were telling me like you would have loved to come in on Entourage at this time, like season 2.
Yeah.
Because you can actually watch season 2 from the beginning to the end and really not need season 1 too much. Because season 1 is just like, it's more of a loosey season. All those episodes are kind of individual episodes, where this is his first complete season. Like week to week, it matters. We're following Vince on this journey to become an A-lister, to become a super duper movie star. And obviously, like you fellas just said, the relationships that go on throughout. The relationships that go on throughout whether it's between Ari and E, Ari and Vince, Vince in the studios, Sloan and E, the fellas themselves, like all of them are strengthened. And there are some interesting characters and some pivotal characters. Chaz, like you said, we meet Babs this season. Babs will still get worked. I ain't gonna hold you.
Facts.
You meet, I ain't gonna hold you. You meet Sloan, which
Absolute
is
facts.
Sloan is that's probably if we ever did a bracket of who outkicked their coverage the most, E is probably the number 1 seed.
And that's not even just this show, like the entire history of TV, probably.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's what.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yes.
Inside Entourage, outside Entourage, because Entourage got Chaz. Once again, I brought this up to Chaz. We don't talk about our picks and things before the show, but me and Chaz were on the phone, and he was talking about when I said that he was like, "Damn, even over Turtle and Meadow, Jamie Lynn Siegler, Meadow Soprano, which comes on later in the show, but Jerry Ferrara pulled her in real life."
Yeah.
And B, Turtle got some hustle to him. Like women are attracted to hustlers. If you talk a good game and you can execute, like women will be drawn to you. E is just a little like emotional motherfucker, man. Like I don't even understand how Sloan even got with E. And we see their relationship throughout this entire series. And he ended up fumbling that and fucking that up. But it was great to see Sloan and remember what it was before before E started Ian, I guess. But yeah, overall, one of my favorite seasons. It's top 3 for me. I think I said it before. Season 2, season 3, season 5 are probably my top 3 seasons. I really like season 6 a lot as well. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of get into things and really talk about this season as a whole. And I'm curious to know what your best episodes are going to be. I felt like it was a little bit. I don't know. I feel like the episode that I thought happened in season 2 really didn't happen yet. And I think there's an overall best episode, air quotes, that people look at when they look at this season, but it really could be a toss-up if you think about it. So looking forward to go ahead and talking about that. Start with quotes. I don't know if either one of you brothers had some quotes to start out this season with, but whoever wants to go first, throw some quotes out there.
I got a couple. Parental advisory.
Yeah. I don't know. Did I say that? Spoiler alerts, parental advisory. There will be explicit content the whole 9. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. It's a crude ass show, man. So we just quoting people. We ain't talking like this ourselves. We're just quoting the characters.
As we talked about earlier on the first episode, Ari, one of my favorite characters. So my first one is from him in the exchange that he had with Jamie Lee Presley, when she's telling him he's kind of invited to the show party too. And Ari's response is, "Thanks, but it's anal sex night at the Gold House, and I'm going home to punish my wife."
I had that one too, bro.
The way he casually get these off is like it's amazing. Yeah. My next one, Turtle to Drama. You know how much pussy I get in this town that I didn't deserve. Drama's response, all of it. The Golds are in therapy. The therapist asks Ari, does he need to take a phone call? His wife, no, he doesn't. I ask for 1 hour a day and can't get that. Ari, you can have it if you want to live in Abora Hills and go to group therapy. But if you want a Beverly Hills mansion and want a country club membership and you want 9 weeks in a Tuscan villa, then I'm going to need to take a call at noon on a fucking Wednesday. One of my favorites.
One of my favorite Entourage lines ever.
Ari to E, I'm getting killed over here. Vince isn't, excuse me, E to Ari, I'm getting killed over here. Vince isn't happy. Ari, of course he isn't happy. No one in this town is happy except for the losers. Look at me. I'm miserable. That's why I'm rich. And 2 other ones, E to Drama, I don't let other men buy me clothes, and Saigon to Drama, what do you do? And Turtle said he just tries to act like he's not retarded. Also my favorite one.
Solid list. Chaz, what you got?
Well, I only got a couple because we actually had a lot of the same ones. So I got one from Vince, and it's you tell somebody you cheated if you want to break up with them. Otherwise, it's just a selfish way to get rid of your own guilt.
Facts.
Got that
one.
One.
Bar.
Yeah, that was a bar, and I was like, well, you know what? I don't really have a lot of shit that Vince says, like ever, you know. But this was a E to Turtle for whatever reason. I don't know. I just always liked their dynamic. I'm sure he was dreaming about your fat ass running around in pajamas. So when they was talking about just having a conversation about going to Aqua Mansion. I mean, the Playboy Mansion. I'm sorry.
No doubt.
And then, yeah, those are my quotes.
All right, I got a couple more that you fellas didn't say. One was in the opening episode. One of my favorite moments of the season, actually, it's when E and Ari were having dinner, and talking about Vince's career. Actually, talking about Aqua or Medellin. They wanted to get Medellin, and E asked, "So what if Cruz passes?" Then they go to Brad Pitt. He passes. They go to Keanu Reeves, and down the list. Where's Vince on that list? He's not on the list. Well, how do we get him on the list? You do Aquaman, you stupid fuck. Once again, Ari letting E know this is how the game works, bruh. Like, this is how the game works. You can't just come in and get what you want. If you do these big budget movies, you make this money at the film office, you can do whatever you want to. You got to play the game before you start picking your movies. We've talked about that in season 1. It's going to be a continuous conversation throughout this whole series, the relationship between Ari and E. Ari had one at the Lakers game. Some random guy says, "Hey, down front." Ari says, "I paid $2,000 for these seats. I'll go out there and launch a 3 if I want." That's always been one of my favorite bars because I feel them, nigga. I'm out here courtside. As much as I pay for these seats, nigga, I go out there and make an attempt. I'll be on the stat sheet before the game's over. Stop playing with me. Just a random quote. I forget who said it. It was about the perfect 10 model. I think it was Drama when E had the perfect 10 model. And he said, "That girl last night, she could start wars." I don't never want a chick that bad. I don't never want a woman that bad that she could start wars.
That's funny. That's a good one too.
Billy Walsh has one of mine when he meets up with the fellas at the club and he sees Shauna, the publicist. "Hey, skirt suit, move over. Let me get next to the models." And then the last one was Ari. It's just the delivery, how fucked up it was when Ari gets fired and he's trying to get his car and they tell him that his car is a company car, they're not giving it back. He comes running over to the intercom like, "How many fucking pesos did I get you last Christmas?" Like, the fact that he called that shit pesos. He didn't call it money. He didn't, like, Ari's just...
Nigga said, "I fed a whole village.
I fed a whole... Half of Mexico is living off the tips that I gave you." And then, of course, it made it even more funny because the dude wasn't even Mexican. He said, "I'm Guatemalan, and we don't even use that currency." But obviously, Ari just being turned up, that's one of my favorite ones. A lot of good quotes this season. As far as celebrity appearances, I'm going to go through the list per episode. We start to ramp it up this season. Obviously, nobody really knew what Entourage was, and you see this every season. You get more and more celebrities. I'm assuming probably calling in and saying, "Hey, I want a guest spot on this show." Or their agents reaching out like, "Hey, man, my client watches the show. Can we get them worked into it somehow, some way?" Once we get in the bag, season 3, 4, 5, and all that, season 6, that's when they really start having a big-time A-listers come on the show. But we're still working our way there. Episode 1, we have Gary Busey and Amanda Peet. Shout out to Amanda Peet. I ain't seen her in a long time. Episode 2, we have Lamar Odom and Jamie Presley. Episode 3, Hugh Hefner, Ralph Macchio, and Pauly Shore. Random ass crew, but they were all there. Episode 4, we have Chris Penn. Episode 5, we have Bob Saget, the late great, who shows up a lot in Entourage, as well as Anthony Anderson. How fitting is it that Drama was there's a deleted scene of Barbershop somewhere with Drama in it. If that don't say anything about Drama's career, then nothing does.
I got you paid, motherfucker.
Yeah, man. Episode 6, we have Michael Buffer. Episode 7, we have Peter Dinklage and James Cameron. It's funny how they talk about Peter Dinklage back then, and now he ended up being on one of the best characters on one of the best shows of all time. Yeah. Episode 8, we have Dr. Joyce Brothers and Mandy Moore. But episode 9, Vanessa Angel, Jesse Jane, and Mandy Moore. Episode 10, we have James Cameron, DJ Quick, and Mandy Moore. Episode 11, Brooke Shields and Mandy Moore. Episode 12, we have Spike Lee's favorite rapper, Saigon. Episode 13, we have Mandy Moore. In episode 14, we have James Cameron, Saigon, Pauly Shore, Richard Schiff, and we also had a small appearance by Laz Alonso. He wasn't playing himself, obviously, but he was Snoop's assistant or something like that. So I always thought that was interesting. Yeah, did anybody have a favorite appearance this season? Favorite guest appearance? I don't think they really started letting these. Bob Saget.
Yeah, Bob Saget, definitely.
Bob Saget, yeah. Bob Saget and Peter Dinklage.
I liked Peter Dinklage and I liked Anthony Anderson too.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I loved about the show. Like once you start watching it, it really gave you a description of like Hollywood and how that works. One of the biggest indicators for those who haven't been to not necessarily Los Angeles, but Hollywood, like been in where celebrities hang, it's very common. That's how they spot when you're not from there because you start freaking out when you see celebrities. Like it's very common. That's why they all live there because they can kind of be as normal as possible. It's not a big deal to go ahead and see, Tom Cruise. Well, maybe not Tom Cruise at this point, but for us, let's talk about the culture. See Marlon Wayans at a club somewhere, or to see any of these big time celebrities. They're just walking down the street like regular people. So if you went out of town, you'll definitely freak out and see them. But it is nothing to go see Anthony Anderson randomly at some restaurant as you're trying to make your way to your seat and have a brief conversation. So I always thought that was cool. But Bob Saget is definitely my choice as well. Just a lot of people, I know from my era, a lot of people didn't know Bob Saget was like a stand-up. They know him from Full House. And not only is he a stand-up, he's a cruise stand-up. So you're looking at him, play Full House, and then he on stage saying some wild shit. So it makes sense for him to, have a house account with the madam and all that stuff. Great appearances by Bob throughout the entire series. When we talk about films this season, obviously Aquaman is a big film. That's the main one that takes up season 2. And then also he passes on a novel adaptation of Tapping the Source, which Harvey Weinstein, didn't age well, but Harvey Weinstein offered him to go ahead and shoot in Australia. So those are the 2 movies that they discussed this season. Let's go ahead and just get into the episodes. Let's go ahead and get into honorable mention, top 5s, the whole 9. Chaz, I think you started last week, so Spike Lou, we're going to start with you. What are your honorable mentions this season?
Honorable mentions, I'd go with Old Mandy. I would also go with Aquamansion. And I would also go with Good Morning Saigon. That would be the honorable mentions for me for this season.
Okay, then. Chaz, what you got for honorable mentions?
I got Chinatown and I Love You Too.
Really? Okay. Chinatown and I Love You Too. Neither one of those made my honorable mention, but I like them as standalone episodes. My honorable mentions are The Boys Are Back in Town. Obviously, like I said, the Ian Ari conversation, one of my favorite moments of the season. He told him, man, like, you are going to manage your best friend right out of this business. Like, that is what's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, I see it. This town is scattered. It's littered with like almost A-listers, and you about to let your boy be one of them. That was just one of those moments. We talked about how terrible he was. Old Mandy is on my honorable mention. Really enjoyable episode. It was hard to keep it out the top 5. The fellas moving to Jessica Alba's Malibu crib. Ari lies about his age so he can get on the 40 under 40 list. We start hearing about this Walk to Remember incident between Mandy and Vince. Drama having road rage. That's one of my favorite moments of the season. Smashing dude's car, which I don't listen. You talk shit and you spit on my car. I'm Turtle in that situation. Turtle tried to stop him. As soon as he did all that, Turtle put his hands up like, all right, man, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You asked for it, yeah.
Yeah, you asked for
it.
Spike, you always say, play dumb games, win dumb prizes.
Win dumb prizes.
Yeah, so that's one of the standout episodes for me. Who else we got? We got Neighbors as well. Neighbors is a honorable mention. Bob Saget coming over. Who the fuck was that guy? That's one of my favorite moments too. He talking to Vince the whole time. Vince like, who the fuck was that guy? I told you about drama being in barbershop. Turtle not being able to knock down a sure thing. Bob Saget taking Drama's girl. Everything about it. Like, I just had to put that in my honorable mention. And now we can go ahead and get into top 5. So number 5 for you, Spike Lou. What you got?
Number 5 for me for this season is going to be Neighbors.
Okay.
I like Neighbors. I like the whole dynamic. Of course, we get the wonderful character Bob Saget and them dealing with the girls, finding out they're prostitutes. Like, the whole arc of this, I think, was great. So Neighbors is number 5 for me.
What you got, Chaz? What's number 5?
I'm with you, Spike. It's number 5 for me as well. Anything that just seeing Bob Saget on anything outside of Full House is always enjoyable. Whatever character he's playing. So, and he happened to just be playing himself this time. It was hilarious. So that was my number 5.
One of my favorite moments in Neighbors is when Ari is picking up his kid from school, and his wife looks. I would never want to hear this from my wife. His wife looks at him with the most sincere face and says, "I really think it's nice that you're finally taking an interest in the family." Like what? Like what the fuck? I think it's nice that you're finally taking an interest in the family.
That's
Like
hilarious.
Ari's just this animal. Like he was like, what the
That's
fuck?
hilarious.
Like I ain't some absentee dad.
And 60 seconds later, he's running up on Dana Gordon.
Running up on Dana Gordon, which makes it even more funny. And it goes into the whole quote that Spike started with. If you want this life that we live, I'm gonna have to answer a call on Wednesday, man. I ain't gonna be around for all the pickups and drop-offs, whatever the case may be. That's why you don't work. That's exactly why you don't work. That's why you're a housewife. Yeah, exactly. So my number 5, my Maserati does 185. That's my number 5 choice. We see the importance of Aquaman. The Ian Kristen thing is still going on. The fella's not buying it. We've all been in that situation where somebody just got a girl you don't like, and it's just like somebody in the crew just I think we talked about it last episode with Kristen, but the same still goes. And she lying, like she ain't come to New York to see you. Soon as you see her, not once did she mention she was on her period. And so what? Like you on your period, you about to do something. You about to do something. I ain't seen you in 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, come on, man, stop playing. And that's what they was on. Like, damn, she ain't give you no neck, she ain't give you no tug, no nothing. Like, damn. And the fact that they're skeptical, she had food poisoning, the whole 9. Everything about that E and Kristen, I like that they put that to bed right there. I like that E was finally able to. I think Vince had a good point. Like, listen, just because sometimes your status allows you to get things that you wouldn't get, and that don't mean that it's bad. And E finally leaning into like, yo, all right, I'm Vince's manager. I'm gonna start using that because, as Vince told him, this shit don't always last. And if you look at movie careers and movie stars, there is a bunch of people that you know, but when you talk about them being A-listers and being scorching hot, there might not be a wide window. Everybody has a point in their life when they don't, for the most part, not everyone, but 90% of Hollywood, they have a point when they're the most popular they ever been. Not everybody's Denzel, not everybody's Brad Pitt, not everybody George Clooney, where you always just gonna be that nigga. Like some of you just like, hey, man, I got a 4-year stretch where I'm really that guy, and I'm about to take advantage of it. Whether I got the hottest show on TV, whatever it is, it ain't always gonna be that. So you gotta take advantage. So he was on that, and I just thought it was a really good episode, especially with the crew. And like I said, us bringing in the introduction of Aquaman and the introduction. No, that was Boys Are Back in Town when we start talking about Medellin as well for the first time, the infamous Medellin in episode 1. But my number 5, my Maserati goes 185. Spike Lou, what's your number 4 pick?
Number 4 for me is the Sundance Kids. That's episode 7, I believe, of this season. It's when the film premieres at Sundance, and they get James Cameron to come out. I really wonder, was that character of course not James Cameron, but the Harvey dude, was that Harvey Weinstein?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
That had to be a perception of him, right?
Absolutely. That's been documented. It's factual. 1,000% Harvey Weinstein. They based that character off of him, which is wild to think about today.
The facts, and wild to think about. So I like that James Cameron got up and left out of the movie, leaving it in like worried for a little minute, and the whole drama and Turtle side plot of trying to get the same chick was hilarious. Sundance Kids is my number 4.
Chaz, what you got?
My number 4 is Aquamansion.
Okay.
The whole trying to get drama into the mansion. You know what I'm saying? The fact that Turtle came through once again there, even though they give him a lot of shit, that motherfucker comes through. He, if nothing else, he probably is the most consistent out of everybody on the show. Like if you need a single, Turtle's the one that you want at bat. You know what I'm saying? And he came through on that. Got Johnny Drama in. Then you find out it's Pauly Shore's weird ass that let the monkeys out the cage. The fact that Ari tried to sneak out his house and go to the Playboy Mansion, had the pajamas under his damn clothes. It was just an enjoyable. It was an enjoyable episode for me.
Nah, it's a great episode, and it's just always funny when you have these scenarios, and I can see it being a real thing. I can see Johnny Drama having a lifetime ban from the Playboy
Yeah,
Mansion. Like, how did this
makes
happen?
Absolutely.
all the
You
sense
let
in the
out,
world.
and because not only do you have a lifetime ban, it's because you let out some monkeys. Like what? Like that's some Johnny Drama shit. And I love hearing the stories about Johnny, like back in the day. Like me, Kadeem Hardison, man, we was talking to town. We was all at the table, like, bro. Like Johnny in his heyday was probably something to see. Early 90s,
Man,
like he was
that's
probably
funny,
cooking.
boy.
The Melrose years, as
That's
he
the
said.
that's the Entourage spinoff right there. The prequel
Yeah,
to
that's the
the
Entourage.
Johnny
Yeah,
Drama days.
yeah, absolutely.
Hey, that
Absolutely.
would be very enjoyable to watch. I
Facts.
really think it would be.
Yeah, I would love to see like Johnny be
If they could get an
revenge.
actor to nail it, like in the same vein that this actor plays Johnny Drama, when a younger him,
Yeah.
that would be fire.
Nah, that's real. That's real. Number 4 for me, I'm going with Spike, Sundance Kids. Universally, probably the most known. I know Jerry Ferrara, who plays Turtle. He said this is his favorite episode of Entourage. I remember it being a big deal. Obviously, Sundance film festivals. Talked about it last season or last episode, should I say, when Ari was talking about going to the snow and shit like that. Like he wouldn't do Sundance, and obviously he's here this episode. Shout out to Sundance because it's moving locations. Cincinnati's been named one of the final 6 cities to host Sundance. So hopefully the home city can go ahead and host that. I will be in attendance every year if that's the case. But yeah, Turtle and Drama pursuing the same woman. Obviously, them crossing swords, which would never nah, bro. We're not doing that. We're not doing none of this shit.
Hey man, how did you put yourself in that position?
And my man, Drama wouldn't even look at him.
Drama said, "Don't touch me. Don't do none of that shit." Right? That's traumatizing. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, Chaz, Spike Lee. Listen, let me tell you something right now. Batman couldn't have beat that information out of me.
No,
I'm not telling anybody that shit happened.
No, you take that to the grave.
If I ever in some weird way, if I ever found myself in that scenario, I'm not telling anybody that it happened.
Nah.
Like I said, Batman ain't beating me. Like kill me, bro. Like, we're not doing none of this. The drama wasn't having it, man. Just the whole nine. Obviously, the phone call with Cameron. We don't know if James Cameron is really going to offer it to him. He finally gives him the phone call on the helicopter, tells him he wants him to play Aquaman. We have Eve telling Harvey. Eve, once again, being naive, not knowing like how this business works, who Harvey is. And I respect it. He don't give a fuck. I don't care who this dude is. Vince ain't doing the movie. Getting creamed out in front of everybody. And then we see, I don't know if anybody knows this, but there's a fictional promotional poster for Queens Boulevard at Sundance. Apparently, the movie stars Ethan Suplee, Katie Holmes, Zooey Deschanel, Kelly Kruger, and Robert Redford, along with Vincent Chase. Not a bad cast.
That's a strong lineup right there.
Yeah, strong lineup right there, man. So yeah, Sundance Kids. I know a lot of people have it number 1 for season 2, but for me, it cracked in at number 4. So Spike Lee, we rolling back to you. What you got for number 3 this season?
For number 3, I have the Bat Mitzvah. That's when Vince is up front with his feelings about Aqua Girl. We have the whole bar mitzvah for Ari's daughter, and we get introduced to Ari's partner Terrence, and I like the dynamic. That it's the first time we ever seen Ari really on defense, like worried about somebody else in the show having and bigger nuts than his. So I really like to see him in that bag and how that played out. And Eric Mislow.
Yep. It's funny. We talked about important characters that we are going to continue on with the series. Forgot to mention Terrence. Terrence absolutely is going to be a character that we see from time to time through the rest of the series. So yeah, that was a great episode. Chaz, what you got for number 3?
I got the Sundance Kids.
Sundance Kids. Okay.
Yeah, for all the reasons that you previously mentioned. Our intro to Harvey, who is completely nuts, and after that, who sticks around? He's around again. They don't just cross him once, like so.
He actually, I forget what season 4. He actually has one of my favorite moments of the series, and it's from Harvey. Because I felt him 1,000% with the cranberry juice. Like I felt him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, come on, stop playing with me.
I've actually had a moment like that at a restaurant before, so I completely understand that.
I can only imagine how that went.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was my number 3.
My number 3, once again, agreeing with Spike Lee, the Bar Mitzvah. Ari's daughter, which they do this weird thing as far as the timeline of everything. So if you've been on the show early, you remember this season we have drama indicating that him and Vince are half brothers, and later on they scrapped that because they mentioned something about you got your mom's cast, I got dad's to Vince.
Mm-hmm.
Well, later on when we ended up meeting their mom, that's Drama's mom too. So they scrapped that whole idea and also the whole kid situation, right? So we talked about that. Ari picking up his kid from school in one of these episodes. It was just some little girl. That little girl is replaced by the daughter who we know from Entourage. And then remember they have 2. Remember when he goes sees Terrence in the back, he has 2 little kids. One of those kids ended up being replaced, and it's ended up one of them being the son. Like, so we have at the end of the day, they have a daughter and a son that we see the entire series, but you can tell they were trying to work it out. How many kids do the Golds have? They try to swap it out. These minor characters, they don't really matter, so we can get away with just replacing them. But they ended up landing on the actors who were going to play. Obviously, the son is Doug Ellen's real life son, who plays Ari's son in the show. So, but not to go with that, or not just for that. This episode is number 3 because, like Spike said, we meet Sloan. Sloan's such an important character throughout the Entourage series. Vince isn't over Mandy. There's a line I think that's interesting when James Cameron is talking to E, and he tells them in 5 years we won't even need actors. And then five years after he says that, Avatar comes out. So obviously they have actors, but not in real life as far as the shoes. So yeah, it's funny how he was on that. Yeah, the kid. Hey, listen. One of my favorite lines, I didn't have it on my quotes. But when Ari looks at Turtle, smoke more weed, Turtle. Seriously, smoke more weed. Turtle came blasted to the bar mitzvah. And then one of the funniest moments of the season for me is when they were looking for that food and they ended up finding the kids' buffet. And those kids had a joint. Said, "Hey, you got a light?" He said, "Come on, man, don't do that. This is you. What are you, 13, smoking weed? That's a gateway drug. One first minute you smoke a weed in front of a room full of adults. Second minute you cruising down Santa Monica giving out hand jobs for a crack rock." That kid said, "Which one of you did that?" Hey man, which one of you guys did that? And the kid was slick with it too. Said, "Hey, give me a light. I'm gonna tell my dad to put your hand on my knee." Give me a light. I'm gonna tell my dad. Hey, I'll whoop your dad's ass, bro. But don't put that.
That was a great scene.
Hey, that was a great scene. One of my favorites throughout the season. And obviously, Mandy coming to pick up Vince. We know that whole thing isn't over. The whole back and forth. We've never seen Vince like this, so it's new for us. For somebody who can get any woman he wants, he really head over heels over Mandy Moore, which I ain't saying nothing wrong with Mandy Moore, but it's still Mandy Moore. Yeah,
it wasn't Sloan.
That's all I'm saying. It wasn't Sloan. Yeah, I'd have done that for Sloan. Yeah,
so
I ain't doing all
you
that.
could understand if it was Sloan.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? You could understand if it was Sloan.
Yeah, Mandy Moore, you just go ahead and get in, get out.
G-class. Keeping it moving on Mandy Moore. I'm Vince.
Straight up. Yeah, that's cruising the block. That's that 3 a.m. leaving the party. Yeah, what's up? Yeah,
Facts.
I'm out. All right, we in the top 2. Top 2 for the season. Spike Lee, what's your second best episode of season 2?
Second best episode of season 2 is episode 14, the finale, which is entitled The Abyss. This is when Vince is slick depressed and he's going through the stuff with Ari. Ari, of course, has lost his job by this point. Vince considers him making a big decision about the movie and not doing it. Drama trying to figure out why my mans won't call him back no more. Like, this was just a great wrap up to the season, coming off the previous episode, the penultimate episode. So The Abyss is number 2 for me.
Not mad at that. Chaz, what you got for number 2?
I got Bar Mitzvah.
Okay.
For the reasons we spoke, introduction to Sloan, seeing the dynamic between Terrence and Ari, and knowing that it's like Ari picked up on it almost immediately. That hey, something ain't right. He about to come for my job, or he about to come for my guy, and he knew he was plotting on him. So he's like, hey, you know what? He started putting, the wheels of motion at that point. And then you got to, you see the Eric and Vince dynamic during this episode as well. So for those reasons, Bar Mitzvah was definitely and just the actual the drama and Turtle on their quest for food. He really gave her like an 8 to get into the buffet.
Nah, I'm on the same shit. Listen, as for those of you who do participate in the buds, 100% have been on a mission where you just like, man, I need some food ASAP. Like on some like I need to eat something ASAP. Like fuck all the dumb shit. And I know what it's like. So I feel them on that. I'd have given her a quarter if she needed to because I'm hungry. Like for real. Like and the vegetarian shit, get this out my face. I need some real shit.
Yeah.
I was on
salad.
I was with Turtle. On that. I should have had the Abyss in my honorable mentions. That's an error on my end. But my number 2 episode is going to be Exodus, the penultimate episode. Exodus is my number 2 episode of the season. It's the first time that we get some shit really shaken up. You know, we know, all right, the movie business is one thing. We know Vince passed on Matterhorn. We know that Aquaman was in limbo throughout most of the season, but we never seen it from anybody else. We never seen like what it looks like if another character has some big life shit and how it's going to affect them. So we see Ari, who Chaz, as you said, is coming into his own this entire season, quickly becoming a fan favorite as far as characters go. And how is he going to be? I think, Spike, you mentioned it earlier this episode. We've never seen Ari off his game. We've never seen him pressed. We've never seen him worried about too much. He always has the edge up. When Ari walks in the room, you know he's the one. You know he's the one in charge. I mean, for the first time, we see somebody who was supposed to be in the background finally poking their head around, making them look silly. Like, I'm here for my meeting, and here you are running it, which is a big no-no. Not only do you run it, you kick me out in front of my people. Like, we're not about to do that. Like, you're not even here all the time. Like, Ari even had a line where he says, I know a lot of you are sitting here looking at this good-looking old man and wondering, who the fuck is this guy? Like, bro, you don't even come in. Nobody knows you. Like, you're not about to play me. I've been running this agency. I've been running everything about it. This is mine. He's trying to do his secret meeting. Let me take some of the best agents with me. I'm going to start my own thing. It's funny because they were meeting at the Hamlet. Every time I think about the Hamlet now, if anybody's seen Winning Time, that was Jason Segel, what the coach he played. That was one of his favorite restaurants. They actually had I think they had an episode called Hamburger Hamlet in Winning Time in this last season. So I always think about that. Shout out to E for being a good family member. The opening of the episode, like, we family and we eat, ain't we family? Like, oh, you gonna buy these watches? We talked about the brotherhood being the central theme of this show, and we know E is the one that's a little bit uptight. So for him to be like, I bet, he pulled out like 4 or 5 credit cards, like get them whatever they want, spread them across these. Like, I know I shouldn't be doing this with my money, but this is probably our first time really. Anybody outside of Vince, this is really our first time touching some real bread. I just made $200,000 off of Aquaman, and I got another $300,000 coming my way. Cool, I'm gonna take care of the team. Like, I live what y'all do. You got my brothers. Like, sure, I'm gonna make sure I take care of you. Just as a test, he was down to do that because that's not a lot. I mean, that's not a cheap price tag. You know what I mean? So, are we really family? The fact that he stepped up and did that, and obviously Mandy and E being spotted by the fellas, everyone but Vince and Turtle and Drama chasing him down the entire episode. Drama had one of my favorite lines. That's what happens at Gucci. You buy a pair of shoes and they let you fuck your ex-fiance. Drama's cheating woes and their logic. Listen, I'm not even mad at their logic. Like, they go to RIP to Blockbuster, but they go to Blockbuster to see what movie they rent, because on some real shit that does matter. Like, if you renting Pirates of the Caribbean or some shit, that's one thing. But if you're reading Brian's song, like some emotional shit, I don't know, man. Yeah, that tells me everything I need to know. And they trying to explain to Vince, like, hey, man, she out here stepping around. Vince ain't going for it because he in love. He's buying the bullshit line of, oh, well, and she even lied. Remember, I was out shopping with my mom. He looking on his face like, man, this dirty motherfucker. But yeah, Manny got me fucked up. Once again, I'm not doing all this for Manny Moore. Like, Manny, you up here talking about some, I'm leaning more towards him and all that. I'm Vince motherfucking Chase. Stop playing with me. I'll get you kicked off this movie and out the business. Yeah, that got me fucked up. But yeah, that's my number 2 for the episode. So now we get into number 1s. These episodes are going to be moving on to the finale as we discuss the best episode ever of Entourage. Spike Lou, what is your best episode for season 1?
You literally just did the rundown of it, brother. Exodus. Exodus, my favorite episode of the season. Everything that you just said, another funny moment after they had been following her, and Vince and E pull up on her, big bright yellow Hummer sitting in the neighborhood, and they try to duck down. And my man Vince like, is that our car? I thought that was funny as hell. But yeah, everything that you just said, great synopsis. Exodus was an episode in the sense of we get to see Ari again play defense. We're not too familiar with that as viewers of this show, so that was a good way to play that out, seeing him rattled and how he bounced back from that. I like the fact that he took Lloyd with him and the little relationship that they have there. So yeah, this is by far my favorite episode of the season, Exodus.
I got you.
And I'm to be honest with you, I'm kind of shocked it wasn't yours. I'm agreeing with Spike.
I'm waiting to hear what number 1 was.
I'm curious myself. Once again, just to allude on just the relationship that he has with that Ari has with Lloyd. One of the quotes I actually see here is, Ari, swear to me that you'll never say anything offensive about my race or sexual orientation. I can't swear to that, but I promise I will apologize after. I will always apologize after. And you know what I'm saying? And he says some fucked up shit. He does.
Oh, no, next season. Next season, we really turn it up a notch. When Ari on his own, we really turn it up a notch with Lloyd and him and the shit he says.
When he got the cold red call, and he told us, like, hey, if you see a paddle, a strap on, or something like that, hey, just pack and go.
Pack that shit and go.
Not in this episode, but in the Lloyd Ari thing when Lloyd tried the new fit.
Oh, the Andre 3000.
My man Ari was disgusted. Oh, that was good.
Hey man, would y'all
coming around in the Fast and the Furious in the Fast and the Furious type shit?
Yeah, the stock car. I meant to ask y'all this when
the car was hilarious.
I meant to ask y'all this the Maserati part, man. Would y'all have stolen them Fruit Loops from Dr. Joyce Brothers? Stealing Fruit Loops out the cart of an old woman? If that's the only one left. He said yes. He said yes.
She don't even need them Fruit Loops.
Chaz, I know. Listen, I live with Chaz, man. So him and cereal are like a real serious thing. Chaz and cereal are a real serious thing. I know you. I know you stealing it. Yeah. But Chaz the type that don't even try to make no distraction. He gonna walk up to her cart and look her in her eyes, take it out of her cart. You don't even need that.
Buddy.
No, you don't need that.
All right. My number 1. I like the fact that I'm not the same as both of y'all. So obviously, Exodus, y'all number 1 was my number 2. My number 1 is going to be An Offer Refused. An Offer Refused is my number 1 of this episode because it has everything that I like. We talked about just the business as a whole and how much of the wild, wild west it can be. I like the dysfunction and the mayhem that took place this episode, right? So An Offer Refused, E and Ari. So Vince buys the new house. He buys Marlon Brando's old house. E and Ari are still waiting on that Aquaman offer. And Vince is in the middle of decorating the house, hiring the decorator, spending all this cash, drama talking about getting his knees or his calves done and all this other stuff. And all right, we ain't even got this offer yet. Like, I'm confused as hell because he's like, you told us we got the offer. You told us they sent the offer, and now the offer's not here. Like, what are you not telling? So we get some new information as far as what's going on in the development of Aquaman. We also get the news that Queens Boulevard made Sundance. The the fellas finding out that, once again, not being in the loop, not knowing what's going on. The fellas find out that James Cameron is directing Aquaman. So think about how big of a deal that is. It went from some shitty movie, I don't want to be no superhero, to now we got James Cameron directing. They think they automatically blocked in, or at least drama Vince and Turtle do. He's the only one knowing that, hey man, we still waiting on this damn offer. Now it's getting worse. Josh Weinstein, being the one that gave that news, I thought was incredible. Because of course that's what Josh Weinstein does. And I also love the fact that they say Josh Weinstein every single time. It's like a pimp named Slickback. You can't just say Josh. It's got to be Josh Weinstein, right? You have Ari's therapy session, which we talked about. And then at the end of the episode, so once again, this whole episode to me is just built on what we think is real really isn't real, right? We thought we had the offer locked up. We thought we about to get this bread. You told me at the Playboy Mansion, they paying me $5 million for this one, 7 for the second, 12 for the third one if we do it. I think everything good. Like I said, I just bought the crib. Life is good. And then your man, who's supposed to tell you everything, now he's in this new role of best friend and manager. I can't give you all this info. I can't make you freak out, because that could have easily, this whole deal could have easily gone away. And then Vince isn't Aquaman. That's a whole different show. The show might end. Like, it's up. Like, it's over. And we already know about Vince's, like, already told us, like, listen, they want you to play the love interest in the Mary-Kate and Ashley movie, bro. Like, this ain't 8 months ago. You ain't that guy, which is a good reminder to us that Vince is not an A-lister yet. He's on his way. Like, you got to make these type of movies in order to be that guy. And I'll never forget watching this episode for the first time. Obviously, we think that everything good. Already talked to Dana Gordon. They wrapping up James, then they're going to wrap up Vince. Cool. We at the bar, or we at the club. Some random dude comes over. Hey, man, slide down, take Leo's spot, man. Oh, he ain't coming in? Nah, man, he in Paris over there talking to James Cameron about some fish. And just the look on their face, like, damn, like that cliffhanger of how the fuck is this going to turn out? Like, I never forget watching that for the first time. It still holds up today, 20 years later, when I watched that episode. So I got to give it my nod. It's a personal favorite. Is it the best? I don't know. I don't expect it to be coming out being reigned the champion once we finish all of this, but it definitely should be in contention. I think it's one of the most underrated episodes, and I really do think it's the best, like, roller coaster ride of season 2.
Okay.
So that's my number one pick. But Exodus probably is the best episode. I probably went more of a favorite choice, but Exodus is definitely it. It changes the whole trajectory of the show, because Ari starts out in his new agency to start season 3 and going from there. But season 3 is going to be a doozy. But before we get there, just a quick recap. The episodes going to the finale for season 2. Chaz and Spike both chose the Exodus, the penultimate episode of the season. I chose An Offer Refused, where we think Vince has the movie and we're not sure. And yeah, maybe he does, and then maybe he doesn't, and the whole nine. And not only that, I meant to add this. It's not just Vince may or maybe not. Like, he's competing against big dogs. He's competing with Leo. Like, Leo might get the movie. Like, ain't no competing against Leo. Either I'm gonna offer it to him or not. Either he said yes or no. That's on Leo.
Right.
Like, that's Leo's choice at that point. So we
it's
see
his movie, really.
Exactly. And then next season, I'm excited to talk about, just because we do get Vince slowly but surely at the beginning creeping his way into A-list stardom. And then once he's there, it's kind of up for the season. Next week will be a little bit different, next week's episode, because season 3 is broken down into 2 parts. You got part A and part B. It's 20 total episodes. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one episode where we're going to do top 5 for each part of the season. So each of us will take 2 episodes into the finale for part A and part B. I think there's 12 episodes in part A and it's 8 episodes in part B. And a lot of big happenings, a lot of things happen with Vince's career, maybe his representation, a lot more guest appearances. What might be the best episode of Entourage is in next season. I'm going to have an open mind, but maybe the best episode of Entourage. Actually, maybe the top 2 episodes of Entourage are going to be next season. In my personal opinion, I won't say what those episodes are, but now that I'm thinking about it, both of these episodes happen in the same part, and I don't know which one is going to be number 1. I have no idea which is going to be number 1, but there's 2 episodes that are just classics. It might take the whole thing home by the time we finish. But with that being said, fellas, Anything else that you want to say? Any last words before we get into the end this up and get into the season 3?
Nah, man. Well put by you. I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to remember what those episodes may be, so I'll probably start that tonight, digging into it.
They're both in part A. I'll say that they are both in part A. Season 3 is good, man. I forgot about Aquaman 2. Like, we get a lot of shit in season 3.
Yeah.
We get a lot of conversation in season 3. Yeah, there's a lot of good discussion that we can have. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure, this episode, we mostly just talked about quotes, honorable mention. I didn't have any special questions. However, I know I'll have some for you guys next week when we talk about season 3, because a lot of mishaps, a lot of missteps. I'll just go ahead and put it out there right now. One of the biggest decisions, this is something Chaz and myself have talked about for the past 10, 15 years. Should Vince have done Aquaman 2? A lot of stuff we'll talk about next week, but I'm looking forward to it. With that being said, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Also leave a comment. We will include you in the show. With that being said, my brothers, I appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week for a new episode. Until then, be cool.
Yes, sir.
Peace.